Hello and welcome to Nationwide News on the Network Service of the NTA. I am Norlene Ebel Ame. Let's begin the broadcast by informing you that the Office of the Senior Special Assistant to the President on Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Reduction has continued to demonstrate federal government's commitment to youth empowerment. This is coming as more youth returned from China on completion of skills acquisition training. Ruth Aguele reports.
It was a moment of fulfillment and joy of accomplishing a mission. These selected youths are now equipped with skills to add value to the economy. Senior Special Assistant to the President on Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Reduction, Delu Bulus Yakubu, says it is part of federal government's commitment to promote inclusion, youth empowerment to bridge the unemployment gap across the country.
We picked the most vulnerable because Mr. President said no one should be left behind. Some of them have never even come to Abuja, talk more of going international, and we are happy doing this. And they have been trained in different areas and skills, data processing and climate change, poverty reduction, agriculture, health as well.
This particular seminar we attended has actually redesigned and redeveloped our mindset towards the agricultural industry development.
And now I know how to help my communities, how to help my people in order to reduce poverty.
About 52 young people have so far benefited from the initiative, who were selected from across the 6 geopolitical zones in the country, with another batch of beneficiaries expected to soar on eagle's wings. In Abuja, Ruth Aguele, NTA News.
In other news, the Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission, NERC, has approved the reduction of 1.69 billion naira from the total annual operating expenditure of Abuja Electricity Distribution Company, AEDC. NERC says the deduction is for non-adherence to the order on capping of estimated bills, stating that it is the 10% of the overbilled amount by AEDC to its consumers for the period covering May to September 2023. The electricity regulator emphasizes that AEDC will be held accountable for service deliveries per commitment under its service-based tariff proposals, which seek to align end user. Similarly, INEC has announced dates for the conduct. Right, I take it again. Tariffs in proportion to the service level enjoyed by customers clusters as measured in average hours of supply per day over 1 month. Meanwhile, the NERC order of May 2025 provides for the establishment of a transmission infrastructure fund to support the funding of critical transmission infrastructure projects and novel initiatives necessary to facilitate the improved delivery of transmission services in the Nigeria electricity supply industry. In the same news, INEC has announced dates for the conduct of Ekiti and Osun State's governorship elections next year. INEC Chairman Professor Mahmoud Yakubu made the announcement while swearing in 6 resident electoral commissioners at the INEC headquarters, Abuja.
1 woman, 5 men made the INEC resident electoral commissioners list. And for the Commission's Secretary, Mrs. Rose Orarin Anthony, a big win for women. Obviously not jealous, men also identifying with their 5 male resident electoral commissioners. Pleasantries over, oath taken, documents sealed, time for charge.
You must always act in good conscience. Do not betray your oath of office. And you must never ever be impervious to genuine criticisms.
We are committed to upholding the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, the Electoral Act, under all circumstances.
On deployment, Dr. Saad Idris, Gombe State, Dr. Johnson Alalibo Sinikem, Cross River State, Fiyejimi Ebiemi, Ogun State, Mukhtar Umar, Taraba State, Chukwuemeka Ebeziako, Abia, and Umar Garba, Sokoto State. Swearing in concluded. Schedule of governorship elections in Ekiti and Osun States next.
For Ekiti State, the election will be held on Saturday, 20th July 2026. In the case of Osun State, the election will be held on Saturday, 8th August 2026.
Preparations for 17 by-elections and continuous voter registration exercise are on, and dates will soon be announced, Professor Mahmoud Yakubu assures. Mayor Ogede, NTA News.
The federal government, through the Ministry of Communications, Innovation and Digital Economy, has provided unlimited high-speed internet connectivity to hostels in the General Yakubu Gowon University, Abuja, at no cost. Chidima Ndubisi reports.
One will want to do assignments, want to research, but it will not be possible. We will not be able to do that because the network here has been very bad.
Special, a first-year medical student at the University of Abuja, now Yakubu Gowon University, narrating difficulties experienced while trying to access crucial online resources for studies. Each click is a struggle. Every download eats into already tight budget. Rising data cost, not helping matters. This is a reality many students face. Good news though, the federal government has stepped in, installing free, unlimited, high-speed internet right at the university, leveraging existing fiber optic networks.
Students will be able to have access to digital textbooks, digital journals. They'll be able to do their research seamlessly. Access to AI that will help enhance the way they study.
They will explore their creativity. We already see what our young people are doing in the startup ecosystem, what they're doing, the skit makers are doing because they have access to the internet. They can build businesses even while they are at school.
I am so happy with this new free internet access. I believe it's going to help us in terms of our free tutorials online.
The plan is to roll out this initiative in 7 pilot universities and, if successful, reach all universities across the nation, promising a bridge to the digital gap and empowering students with the tools to succeed. In Abuja, Chimdima Ndubisi, NTA News.
In a world increasingly shaped by technology, the digital transformation of university administration is no longer a trend but a necessity, crucial for enhanced efficiency, transparency, and academic performance. That was the central focus of a workshop organized by the Association of Nigerian University Professional Administrators, ANUPA.
In this hall are university administrators from across the country brought together under the umbrella of the Association of Nigerian University Professional Administrators as Nigerian universities face rapid technological change and growing demands for transparency and accountability. This workshop represents a crucial step towards equipping administrators with the tools to lead with innovation and foster institutional growth.
The Commission recognizes that in today's rapidly evolving knowledge economy, the effectiveness of university administration is pivotal for advancing the quality, relevance, and global competitiveness of our higher education system.
ANUPA National Executive Committee thus is mindful of the need to ensure continuous professional development of members to sustain administrative efficiency in the university system of the future.
But you need to find a way to upskill yourself so that you'll be able to be suitable and fit into today's system.
We have come here to learn, to relearn, to unlearn, so that we'll be able to better ourselves.
With the theme, Transforming University Administration, Embracing Innovation, Collaboration and Leadership in a Digital Era, the organizers emphasized the need for continuous learning. They urged university administrators to embrace digital tools and collaborative strategies that will redefine the future of Higher Education Management.
The Chief Executive Officer of the National Library of Nigeria, Professor Chinwe Ononubi, has challenged university library members to transform their libraries into major research hubs that attract researchers globally. This was at the 112th biannual meeting of the association with the theme, Revolutionizing University Libraries Through Adoption of Emerging Technologies for Enhanced User Experience. The National Librarian stressed the importance of the university libraries to connect their libraries with internet for smoother operations in the quest to catch up with modern development.
You are as much academic as the other person.
A well-equipped and efficiently managed university library directly correlates with academic quality and global competitiveness.
We are happy as a university to be part of this process because it aligns very well with our mandate.
The theme of your conference resonates strongly with the transformation we are envisioning for the library profession in Nigeria.
Strategize and advance our shared vision for the development and transformation of university libraries across Nigeria.
The National Open University of Nigeria pledged to partner the nation's libraries to enhance the studies of its students. Elsewhere, Governor Muhammadu Inuwa Yahaya of Gombe State has signed a contract worth over 48.6 billion naira for the control of gully erosion. Emmanuel Akila reports that the governor also inspected some projects within the state capital and suburb communities in continuation of the activities to celebrate his 6th anniversary as governor of Gombe State.
The second day of the anniversary tour by Governor Muhammadu Inuwa Yahaya began at the suburb community of Tumfre. It is a community that has existed without a single road infrastructure since the creation of Gombe State about 30 years ago.
Government is all about the people. And once you do what people want, why should people not like you?
Something that we did not expect before, and now we have it.
Okada, they have been complaining. They will not come here because of sand and so on and so forth. But today, no complaint.
Next is the Nainawa community that is notorious for gully erosion problem. And the gully erosion have been taken care of.
Highlight of the second day tour is signing of the multi-billion-naira contract for the control of 18 kilometers gully erosion site, inauguration of agricultural equipment, and the commissioning of the newly constructed Hayunkwari-Miso Bridge.
In addition to signing the contract, we are issuing checks for compensation to residents in the 10-meter buffer zone along the project corridor. This reflects our principle of inclusive development.
Your Excellency will quickly mobilize the site and interface with different strata of people across the 21-kilometer stretch. Today again, we are here under your leadership to make another history.
Other projects inspected include the additional structures at Doma Mega Government Girls Secondary School and Township Roads. In Gombe, Emmanuel Akila, NTA News.
Mid-term assessment of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's administration and other news from our Lagos Network Center with Hingino John Adams. It's your uptime, Hingino.
Welcome to Lagos. President Bola Tinubu's 2 years in office have been described as progressive despite inherited challenges. With various policies and steps introduced by the president, Nigerians believe the country is on track.
The Talent City concept, which aligns with the federal government's plan, is in line with President Tinubu's renewed hope agenda of creating digital jobs for millions of Nigerian youths. Located within the premises of Digital Bridge Institute, DBI, in Oshodi, Lagos, Minister of Communications, Innovation and Digital Economy, Dr. Bosun Tijani, said the Talent City will be a dedicated hub to support Nigeria's growing business which presents opportunity to unlock thousands of export-facing digital jobs for Nigerian youths.
There's opportunity all over the world for digital services and BPOs. We've seen what countries like India, Philippines, and even China has been able to achieve with this market. We know that Nigeria can be the next destination, which is where we're creating the Talent City program.
With the opportunity and technology provided by Digital Bridge Institute in partnership with other stakeholders in digital technology industry, Talent City will not only equip young Nigerians, it will also make them competent in digital space.
With the Talent City, we're going to see a huge number of employments. It means a lot of our young people will be engaged. We work in each of these BPO facilities here across all our campuses in Nigeria. The minister said it's going to start with Digital Bridge Institute.
Dr. Tijani also emphasized the importance of public-private partnership as a major key to unlocking the capital potentials in digital economy, which is said will make Nigeria a nation to source for in technology advancement. In Lagos, Bolaji Akim, NTA News.
The federal government has again restated its commitment towards job creation for youth. This assurance was re-echoed by the Minister of Communications, Innovation and Digital Economy, Bosun Tijani, at the official kickoff of Talent City Initiative in Lagos. Bolaji Akim completes the story.
Immediately after his inauguration on May 29, 2023, as the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu left no one in doubt on his determination to bring transformation to the country. 2 years into his administration, Nigerians have described the President as being determined to ensure total revolution in all sectors for the betterment of the citizens.
There's restoration, gradual restoration of confidence in the body polity. Of course, there is a consequence for when tough decisions are taken.
Being Nigerians, we are very optimistic and hopeful that in the nearest future, the policies he has on ground will begin to materialize into something Nigerians will be proud of.
With the revolution going on in digital technology, experts believed that the President's initiative and policy will lead to job creation, which will positively engage the nation's youth and open a gateway of opportunities for the country.
What I have seen here is clearly that that zeal is here to invest in Nigeria.
President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's industrial rebirth is also another giant stride, as it has created conducive environment for public-private partnership.
Human capital development, training, and job provisioning. I think that is an enormous support from the government. For the first time, I don't think I've seen this level of energy.
While calling on Nigerians to be patient, stakeholders say intensifying the ongoing fight against insecurity and other criminal activities will boost agriculture, which is in line with Tinubu's food security agenda. In Lagos, Bolaji Akim, NTA News.
That's it from Lagos. Nationwide will continue with Nolene in Abuja after this time out.
Welcome back to Abuja from Lagos. Now we take you to Makurdi Network Center, where Susan Omale has more to give us on Nationwide. Hello, Susan.
The Benue people have lauded Governor Alia for delivering 2 years of purposeful leadership in the state. This was at IBB Square, Makurdi, where the people converged to celebrate the event and to mark Nigeria's 26 years of uninterrupted democratic governance. Charles Abba reports.
Democratic governance has been void of incursion since May 29, 1999, when Chief Olusegun Obasanjo was sworn in as President of Nigeria. It is in commemoration of this uninterrupted democracy that Benue's sons and daughters, including traditional rulers from the 23 local government areas of the state, converged on IBB Square, Makurdi. They described the early administration as unprecedented due to its all-round developmental projects cutting across the 3 senatorial districts of the state.
Your Excellency, your administration has made a commendable stride in fostering peace and security within our border.
So many changes have been made, and more are being made for the benefit of our people.
Elders, women, and youths also echoed their voices in eulogizing the governor. Governor Hassan Alia, who appreciated Benue people for their resilience and support, assure them of making Benue more secured, developed, and productive.
Security remains a top priority. Although we inherited a fragile security situation, we are taking bold steps towards restoring safety of lives and property, as well as maintenance of law and order.
He re-emphasized his administration's commitment to youth empowerment, ensuring food security, industrial development, educational transformation, and initiation of more programs and projects in Makudi. Charles Abba, NTA News.
Finding lasting solution to the conflicts between Benue communities and herders has over the years defied solutions. It is to resolve lingering issues and create harmonious relationship that the Operation Wellstroke has embarked on series of peace meetings with various parties. Blessing Omeche Ibute has details of the latest meeting.
The renewed violent conflicts between Benue communities and herders have persisted, resulting to the death of thousands, destruction of properties, and sacking of Benue communities. Developing a non-kinetic approach to the conflict, the Operation Wellstroke, led by its first commander, Major General Moses Gara, is holding this meeting with relevant stakeholders. First Commander Operation Wellstroke, Major General Moses Gara, appealed for a peaceful resolution to the crisis. He called on the leadership of the Meyati Allah cattle breeders to report criminal elements who are tarnishing the image of the association to security agencies.
We have observed an upsurge in isolated and reprisal attacks within Benue State in particular. We needed to have a deeper understanding of what is driving these senseless killings. Hence, we called some critical stakeholders to have an engagement with them, to give us a deeper understanding and then to come together, cooperate to get solutions towards stopping this senseless cycle of violence.
Yanda za a kawo zaman lafiya a Benue State, insha Allah duk kowane arewa wanda mun yi zai nemi fitina za mu gaya ma jami'an tsaro.
We agree with all the security agencies that we are going to give them maximum cooperation. All angle and all ramification.
The meeting, which was held behind closed doors, lasted for several hours. In Makudi, Blessing Omeche Ibute, NTA News.
And that does it from Makudi. We return to Nolin in Abuja for more on Nationwide.
Thank you very much, Susan. As the nation marks 26 years of uninterrupted democratic process, the Director General of Michael Imodu National Institute for Labor Studies, Minos Ilorin, has commended Tinubu administration for upholding the rights of citizens inclusive of organized labor to freely organize and bargain collectively despite the challenges economic crisis imposes on labor-government relations in recent times. In a statement to observe 26 years of uninterrupted democracy and 2 years of Tinubu administration, Comrade Issa Aremu said, notwithstanding policy contestations that have trailed reforms resulting in national strikes in some instances, President Tinubu administration has respected the provisions of ILO conventions with respect to freedom of associations and assembly without intimidation of the trade unions. In the face of what he called avoidable and preventable national strikes, the Director General said 26 years of democratic governance has produced 4 national minimum wages since 1999. Comrade Aremu therefore held organized labor, employers of labor, and the federal government for negotiating on the 6th national minimum wage in 2024, a legitimate entitlement which hitherto denied during the past military regimes. He said the most historic of the interventions in the last 2 years is the enactment of 2024 National Minimum Wage Act of 70,000 naira. Aremo said Minerals is ready to partner with the tripartite stakeholders as the nation prepares for a new minimum wage in 2027. The Director General said to consolidate on the gains of the last 2 years, all the agencies of government at all levels should support and diligently implement the recently approved Renewed Hope Nigeria First policy initiative of President Bola Tinubu. 2 years after taking the reins of leadership in Abia State, Governor Alex Otti says his administration is redefining governance through discipline, economic prudence and people-focused reforms. At the grand finale of his second anniversary celebration, the governor rolled out his scorecard and promised greater impact ahead. Ifoma Undu Okoli reports.
Governor Alex Otti reaffirmed his commitment to leaving behind a legacy of transparency, good governance, and lasting development. The governor highlighted major strides in his 2 years in office, especially the clearing of over 40 billion naira in salary and pension arrears, with prompt payments now guaranteed by the 28th of every month.
What we as government are doing is to create the enabling environment for our businesses to thrive. So when you see the roads that we are building, when you see us retrofitting the markets, when you see us cleaning up the environment, we are doing that so that your businesses will thrive.
Our colleagues in the Abia House, you have already moved the motion, and the National Assembly here, we are not just seconding it, we are supporting you in it, and we say, may you continue to support the governor in his good works.
With 2 years down and more plans in motion, Governor Otti says he remains focused on building the new Abia, where good governance is not just a promise, but a reality. In Umuahia, Ifoma Okoli, NTA News.
Brighter days are ahead for federal civil servants as the Tinubu administration perfects far-reaching reforms to reposition the federal workforce. Head of the Civil Service of the Federation, Mrs. Didi Esther Wilson-Jack, has been speaking on this and other issues.
There is a committee working on the harmonization of salaries. So it is something that is ongoing. At every point, government cares to know what is the take-home of the civil servant. And, you know, like I say, money is not everything. So we're also looking, like I mentioned earlier, on the transportation. We're also looking at the housing. We have another flagship program here in the Office of the Head of Civil Service of the Federation, which is a Federal Integrated Staff Housing Program, popularly known as FISH. And I'd like to let you know that over the years, civil servants have been allocated houses under this program.
For the complete package, tune in to One on One today, Friday at 10:30 p.m. on the network service of the NTA. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu celebrates a former governor of Enugu State, Senator Chimaroke Ogbonnaya Nnamani, on his 65th birthday. President Tinubu commends Senator Nnamani's enduring contributions to Nigeria's democratic journey, particularly his remarkable service as governor of Enugu State from 1999 to 2007 and his membership of the Southern Governors Forum. The president notes that the reforms Nnamani championed in health care, education and infrastructure left a lasting legacy on the state and significantly improved its people's lives. President Tinubu acknowledges Senator Nnamani's unwavering commitment to national unity, dialogue and development, as well as his intellectual depth and medical expertise, which have continued to enrich Nigeria's policy evolution. Nigeria is urging the United Kingdom to be considerate in its immigration policies as both countries pledge to strengthen parliamentary cooperation for mutual benefits. This was when Deputy Speaker of the House of Representatives, Benjamin Kalu, received UK's Minister for Africa, Lord Collins of Highbury. National Assembly correspondent Mitaire Ikpen reports.
Lord Collins of Highbury is reciprocating a previous visit to UK's Parliament by the House of Representatives Deputy Speaker Benjamin Kalu. They acknowledged the strategic partnership between Nigeria and the United Kingdom, leading to a trade volume of £7.2 billion in 2024, with a surplus of £3.4 billion in favour of the UK. The Deputy Speaker draws attention to UK's latest immigration white paper, which is perceived to be restrictive for students and skilled professionals.
Shortening the graduate route visa to 18 months and closing the overseas social care worker visa route to new applicants. These measures have the potential to create new challenges for Nigerian nationals who have historically contributed to the UK economy and society.
I want to reassure you that our relationships is about strengthening interparliamentary contact to ensure that we share the same objectives.
It is an ongoing dialogue as both countries seek to expand areas of parliamentary cooperation based on respect and equality to create a win-win situation. From the National Assembly, Mitaire Ikpen, NTA News.
In other news, the National Assembly's legislation of amending the NDLEA Act will strengthen Nigeria's drug control efforts once President Tinubu signs it into law. This commitment was reaffirmed at an interministerial committee meeting in Abuja. Salwa Khalil Ibrahim has more on this development.
The amendment of the NDLEA Act is nearing completion pending presidential assent. The further enhanced effort against illicit substance abuse and trafficking, an interministerial committee has been established to develop and implement comprehensive strategies through collaborative efforts.
This meeting is of great significance as it marks the 5th year of the implementation of the National Drug Control Master Plan, NDCMP 2021 to 2025, signifying its conclusion and setting the stage for the development of the next edition of the National Action Plan.
We must expand prevention programs to address the root causes of drug abuse.
Drug use, as we know, is associated with various things, from health to safety, to productivity.
The new NDLEA Act is expected to strengthen the agency's capacity in drug supply reduction, offering renewed hope in the fight against substance abuse in Nigeria.
In Abuja, Salwa Khalil Ibrahim, NTA News.
Elsewhere, the Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission, ICPC, says it remains committed to ensuring the success of the Supreme Court judgment, which affirms financial autonomy to local governments by enforcing compliance with anti-corruption laws and fostering a culture of transparency, accountability and efficiency. This is coming from the chairman of the ICPC, Dr. Musa Adamu Aliu, at an engagement with members of National Anti-Corruption Coalition aimed at coming up with recommendations that would push for the successful implementation of the local government financial autonomy in order to promote national development. The chairman added that the fight against corruption is not a one-off event, but an ongoing effort that requires sustained commitment and active participation of all.
Like the ALGON, and we are going to also meet with Nigeria Governors Forum, and also the civil society organizations and our development partners, so that we can see how we can come together to ensure that this issue of local government autonomy has taken up properly, and also we block some of the challenges that are happening at local government councils.
In a bid to ensure that the rights of both landlords and tenants are protected, the Lagos State government is focusing on tenancy matters to address issues like rent exploitation and unfair practices. This is a welcome development for Lagos residents who believe creation of a fairer and more accessible housing market will ensure transparency in the rental process and make housing more affordable. Adejoke Odeka interacted with some Lagosians on this.
The Lagos State government has assured members of the public that the bill for a new tenancy law is under due consideration at the Lagos State House of Assembly and yet to be passed into law. The bill is intended to address issues like excessive advance rent demands, unlawful evictions, and rent increases. Tenants in Lagos frequently encounter issues with landlords, including unfair evictions, delayed deposit refunds, and demands for years of rent upfront.
This bill is going to help tenants a little bit with other expenses.
When I was looking for apartments on the Highland because of my work, I was struggling because my budget is not meeting exactly what even the agents and even the landlord are even asking.
Although others have welcomed the increased tenant protections and believe it will lead to a more equitable housing system, experts have expressed concerns about the practicality and potential negative impacts of the bill on the real estate market.
It also affects the landlords also in a way that you know how the economy is. So many people actually, so many landowners, landlords actually own this property to take care of themselves or their family.
Addressing the challenge of housing, ensuring residents are not exploited, and the creation of flexible payment system for tenants, experts say can help in tackling the problem of high rents. In Lagos, Adejoke Odeka, NTA News.
And still staying with Lagos, let's now join Awal Yusuf Jibo, who is live in Lagos to feed us with more information. Awal, I'm sure you spoke with some residents. What did you actually gather?
Thank you, Nolene. This area where I'm at right now is called Victoria Island. And believe me, for people to be able to live in this area, they would have to pay through the nose. And this is because rent here is extremely high. Now, I also spoke with a couple of people that live in different areas across the state, and the tale is the same. They say rent takes as much as 60 to 70% of their income. Now, they attribute this to exorbitant behaviors of some landlords and agents who they say are the major driving force behind the high cost of rent. Now, the Lagos State government in 2011 passed the tenancy law bill, but however, there have been issues of effective implementation, and that is what the State House of Assembly is trying to address right now. Now, it would surprise you to know that, let's take for instance a house that costs 3 million for rent per annum. The landlord could end up charging you as much as 500,000 to 1 million naira for caution fee. The agent will charge you 10, 15, 20%. The lawyers will charge you for legal fees. They would also charge you for inspection fees. So it is just so much for the ordinary people out there. And that is why there is a need for people to know their rights, especially as it pertains to this law. And there's also need for awareness so that people can know what they can and cannot do in order to have a balance and fairness in the landlord and tenant relationship. You would be surprised if you go out there and you ask so many people, do they know that it is illegal to collect more than 1 year rent in advance. A lot of people don't know. And that also a landlord cannot just come and evict you from his property without a court order. So people should also go and read about the law so that they can familiarize themselves, to serve as a guide going forward. And I'd also like to point out that there are particular areas in Lagos, places like Apapa, like Ikeja, GRA, Victoria Island, Ikoyi. Now, these areas are excluded from some of the provisions in the law. And this is because these areas are usually considered to be of high real estate value, where very wealthy landlords meet with corporate tenants in private to seal the deal. But however, there is a significant cry, especially from Lagosians, pertaining to high costs of rent. And the expectation is that if implementation is successfully carried out, then it might bring some respite to the people.
Oh, all right. Thank you very much for your in-depth briefing on the landlord and, of course, tenants saga there. But you mentioned that awareness creation is key here because most residents are not really aware of their right when it comes to law in this aspect. What do you think, or how do you think that should be done, in terms of the creation of awareness for the residents? How should they go about it?
It's quite easy now. You have the social media, we have the mainstream media, we have the newspapers. So putting up publications and then social media campaigns would go a long way in bringing the people up to speed.
All right, and I'm sure the government also has a stake here.
Oh yes, certainly. They certainly do.
Thank you very much, Awal. And now from Lagos, we shall be taking you to Enugu, where Chika Okore is standing by with more reports for us on Nationwide. Hello, Chika.
And welcome to Enugu Network Center. As the Enugu State traverses the transformative journey under the present administration, Governor Peter Mba reflects on his achievements with a promise to sustain an all-inclusive, accountable and transparent government. Chika Ugu reports that the governor made a pledge during a celebration marking his 2 years in office.
A state rich in history, yet running in memory. Endowed with human and capital resources, yet its economy leans solely on civil service. 2 years down the line, with Governor Peter Mba manning the wheel on this transformative journey, the story is now told differently. His clear vision is to eradicate poverty, grow the economy, and make Enugu the preferred place for living, tourism, and investments.
I come before you this afternoon, humbled by your support, proud of our collective achievements, and thrilled by the prospects that lie ahead. This is our moment to take stock.
With collective efforts, the governor is optimistic that in the next 2 to 4 years, Enugu will be a hospitable place for all, with an economy of over $30 billion.
Some people thought we weren't the ones to manage this kind of transformation. There were whispers that it was business as usual.
In what seemed like a carnival, the people, including former governors, politicians, entrepreneurs, revered leaders, youths, among others, sang praises.
The train of His Excellency's disruptive and positively radical innovations has roared loudly into the adjudicatory space. Within that 2 years, we have seen development in construction of roads, construction of cottage hospitals, development in the agricultural sector, and in all sectors of the state.
The event was preceded by a Thanksgiving service where the governor took time to appreciate God and the people for their support. In Enugu, Chika Ugu, NTA News.
Early warnings by the Nigerian Meteorological Agency indicates that 30 states in Nigeria and the Federal Capital Territory will experience devastating flood this year, putting more than 1,200 communities in high risk. In a swift response to averting this impending danger, the National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, has embarked on a sensitization mission across the 36 states of the Federation. Grace Chukuma reports that the agency's visit to Enugu exposed flood-prone areas and best ways to mitigate the disaster.
During an interactive session with stakeholders on disaster management to develop a roadmap for managing the effects of flooding in the state, the Director General, NEMA, represented called for synergy among relevant agencies in addressing the natural menace.
The program was organized primarily to inform states, local governments, and emergency management stakeholders about the 2025 seasonal climate petitions.
Heads of other agencies at the forum unanimously affirmed their readiness to collaborate with NEMA in ameliorating the sufferings of flood victims in the state.
NEMA, SEMA, and the little one we can at the local level, we are trying our best.
A visit to Amici Idodo, an agrarian community, reviewed the damaging effects of flooding in the area. It was agreed that a local management committee saddled with disaster management be formed to reduce the sufferings of the people. Residents were also sensitized on precautionary measures to handling natural disasters.
The most important about disaster management is achieving disaster risk reduction, and that is part of what we have done today by bringing in this downscaling to the communities.
The training continues. I think it is train the trainers.
It is expected that the NEMA visit to Enugu will not only address some of the erosion challenges in the state, it will also provide succor to victims in line with the renewed hope agenda of President Bola Tinubu's administration. In Enugu, Chris Chukuma, NTA News.
And that's all from here. Now over to Nolin in our Abuja studio for the continuation of the news. Hi, Nolin.
Hello, Chika. Thank you so much. Political analysts and gender activists are advocating more political space for full participation of women in politics to engender inclusivity and optimum results. This came to the fore at a one-day symposium on women in leadership, organized by the National Institute for Legislative and Democratic Studies in collaboration with the Center for Gender Security and Youth Advancement, University of Abuja. Muhammad Rabiu Ali reports.
Over the years, socioeconomic and political participation between women and men in Nigeria leaves much to be desired compared to other African countries. This symposium seeks to analyze and appraise the gendered nature of democracy as well as development which lead to limitations on women's political participation.
And when they talk of gender, gender does not apply to just women. Even we men in academics, our colleagues in academics, we must step out.
Please work very, very hard and launch yourself in the society.
But when it comes to leadership and decision-making, female gender is highly, highly underrepresented.
As Nigeria continues to join the League of Countries making steady progress in gender equality, experts believe women must remain resolute and committed in playing critical roles beyond the political space. Meanwhile, the Director General, NILS, Professor Abubakar Suleiman, briefed the media on his stewardship in the last 6 years.
NILS has not relented in supporting the legislature with timely provisions of legislative support through bill drafting.
Abuja, Muhammad Rabiu Ali, NTA News.
President Bola Tinubu says his administration remains committed to building a robust sports industry that supports talent development, wealth creation, and overall national development. The president, who was represented by Senate President Godswill Akpabio, stated this at the closing ceremony of the 2024 National Sports Festival in Abeokuta, Ogun State, Sports correspondent Badia Dele reports that Team Delta were officially crowned overall champions of the Gateway Games after amassing 126 gold, 100 silver and 111 bronze medals to beat the host to the top prize.
The curtains finally came down on the 2024 National Sports Festival in Ogun State after 2 weeks of non-stop action in different sports. The closing ceremony at the rebranded MKO Abiola Sports Arena came as a fitting end to the games described by many as one of the best ever held. From the beautiful artistic display to inspiring dance and musical performances, the packed atmosphere was evidently electrifying. Declaring the games closed, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, who was represented by Senate President Godswill Akpabio, commended the athletes and officials for the high level of competitiveness at the festival, just as he hailed host Ogun State for delivering beyond expectation.
We are sorry for that glitch, and of course that concludes Nationwide today. Thank you so much for watching. I am Nolin Ebel Ame. Do enjoy the rest of your evening.